There's a lot of places that we use stories in sales, in conversation, in speaking. How do you make a story more interesting? Facts tell, stories sell. One of the mantras that I've picked up as I've worked with sales teams or customer service folk. Facts tell, stories sell. Stories are such a compelling way to convey a message or to summarize an idea or a concept. How do we make those stories more interesting? As a past president of the National Speakers Association Mountain West Chapter, I've had such wonderful opportunities to rub shoulders with professional speakers who are also master storytellers, and have picked up a few ideas. 5 tips to make a story more interesting. Number 1, show more than tell. Take us there. Paint a picture that has us there with you in your story. An example, instead of saying, I was getting on a bus in downtown Chicago, you might invite the audience to join you there and say, so join with me as we climb onto a bus in Southwest Chicago. It feels different because you're taking us there. Use descriptive and illustrative words that paint a picture. Instead of saying big, you might say oversized, or overstuffed, or overstacked, depending on what kind of big you're trying to convey. In other words, instead of the simple small word, use a word that's a little more descriptive and paints more of a picture. As I was writing my first book, I became much more familiar with the power of words and how each word needs to pay its own way. This is true in a story, it's true in writing a book, it's true in giving a speech. Weigh out each word according to what it can bring to the game, and then choose the words on purpose. Now the second tip, be authentic. Be real. You've experienced this, I'm sure. I know I have many times where someone's telling a story and it's really obvious that it's canned, that it's maybe not even their story because you've heard it before. In fact, you know what? This is almost a running joke with the National Speakers Association, where I'm a member and I really enjoy participating in those events. We can tell, at NSA, we can tell if someone is a complete novice in the industry because they share a story that we've all heard. There are a few classics. One of them is the starfish story. It's actually a really great story about a guy walking along the beach and he's throwing starfish out into the water, and somebody confronts him and says, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just throwing these starfish out there because they're going to die if they stay here on the beach. The other guy looks around, he sees that the beach is littered with all of these starfish, and he says, well, you can't possibly make a difference for all of these starfish. He said, well, but it made a difference to that one, as he throws another one out into the sea. Beautiful story, a lot of meaning to it, and it's been very popular over the years because of that. And we know that that's a novice speaker because we've all heard that story before. A more expert storyteller will take even that story and find some of their own experience that can illustrate the same point with their own story. So when I say be authentic, be you. Look to your own rich life experience to find the stories, and then as you present them, be you. We don't want to just hear what you have to say. We want to experience who you are. Being authentic allows you to do that in a powerful way, and it really powers up your story. Combine that authenticity with a connection to the audience. We want to feel, as your audience, we want to feel that you're sharing this for the first time. Your enthusiasm about sharing this story, it's like it just happened to you. And that connection, even though you've probably told it 100 times or more, we want to think that we're special. So you connect with us as your audience, in a way that allows us to experience that story as if you're just pulling us aside as a dear friend and sharing this story with us. Now, the third of my 5 tips for today is to memorize the story. You want to memorize it, but you don't want it to sound memorized. You want it to sound as if it's spontaneous and just falling from your lips as you think about it in your head. But you've actually rehearsed it enough that you've got the whole thing memorized and you know what points need to be made at which times, but it doesn't sound memorized. Along the same lines, practice. Practice delivering this story, but we don't want it to sound rehearsed. So one thing that really helps along these lines is recording yourself. Set up a camera or at least a digital recorder. Tell the story, listen back to it. You'll notice things that you didn't notice in the delivery of it. The way you pronounce certain words, the particular words that you choose. All of these things will be relevant and evident to you on the recording, even though you may have missed it in the run-through. Number 4, I would encourage you to use just the right amount of detail. Honestly, this is more of an art than a science. So I can't tell you exactly how much detail to use. But if it helps you to paint the picture, we're probably on the right track. And if it doesn't detract from the story, we're probably on the right track. What is the right amount of detail? I've got an example or two from a story that happened to me. Let's just look at this and analyze what the detail does for you and what is the right amount of detail. So here's an example of the detail concept. 2:49 p.m., April 15th, 2013. 2 pressure cooker bombs explode near the finish line of the Boston Marathon. Okay, now compare that to 2 pressure cooker bombs explode near the finish line of the Boston Marathon, right? Leaving out the time and date stamp. Does that have a different effect for you? Yeah, it does. Now, how much is too much? That's going to depend on a lot of things, including your audience and what the point you want to make. If you get the next paragraph of my story, 2:10 p.m., Mountain Daylight Time, which is my time zone, by the way. The caller ID on my smartphone indicates BYU Radio. Dr. Paul, we need you to come in early to talk about the news. Can you help our listeners find a positive way to handle this? Now, that example puts another time stamp on the story and makes it all relevant because you see that 2:49 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, these bombs explode. 2:10 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, I get a call. And that helps you to appreciate some of the timing of the thing. Now, is that too much detail? Is it enough detail? I'll let you be the judge of that. But if the detail adds to the story and helps to create the content and bring you there visually or emotionally, then probably it's good to include that. If the detail detracts from the story and is unnecessary, then maybe you don't want to include that. That's just an example that comes from one of the stories that I've shared. The power of the pause. Occasionally we're so eager to get the story out that we just keep rolling. We just keep running with the storyline without any breaths. Pause. Just take a moment to allow people to feel the impact of what it is that you're sharing. I've added a couple of pauses here in the last several seconds of this video. Do you feel the opportunity that that gives you as a viewer of the video to just sit with the content for a moment, or to let it sink in, or maybe to pursue a thought that you're having about that content? Push the pause button. A good, effective story will create, I think, at least 3 effects. Number 1, It will make me think. Trigger some thoughts. Number 2, it will make me feel something. And sometimes it's a roller coaster. We take our listeners up and we take them back down, and we take them up again and we take them back down. You'll always want to leave them on an up so that your story doesn't become a downer. Leave them on an upswing after a little bit of an emotional roller coaster ride through the story. You want them to feel something. And the third thing that I think makes an effective story is that it motivates me to do something. Change, adjust, make some kind of a difference because I got to hear the story. I hope you found this helpful. I'll be back tomorrow. I hope to see you again as well.